Rediscover the incredible secret. How 12 Crumbs revealed a life-changing truth about friendship. The storm had rolled into Maplewood, and with its dark clouds came, more than rain, it brought a sense of urgent dread. Ethan Evans, a 12-year-old shining light amidst the shadows, felt that weight on his thin shoulders. The Grateful Spoon, his family's diner, stood as the heart of their small town. But it was beating slower now, struggling to keep pace with the new challenges brought on by a changing economy. Ethan's smile usually lit up the diner, but today it wavered. He watched as the glowing neon open sign flickered in and out, just like his hope. Mia, his best friend, had started drifting toward the popular crowd, leaving Ethan to navigate a confusing maze of thoughts alone. He feared their friendship was slipping away, just like the rain coursing down the diner's windows. Then came the disaster. As the first drops of rain fell, the grocery truck skidded off the road, leaving the diner empty of supplies. Panic surged through Ethan like a thunderclap. Memories of laughter and camaraderie echoed in his mind. The Grateful Spoon was more than just a diner. It was where families gathered, friends laughed, and love simmered amid the smell of pancakes and coffee. Desperation clawed at him, and, with sudden resolve, he and Mia decided to search the diner for secrets buried within the very walls they had spent countless hours in. Excitement shifted the weight in Ethan's chest as they began rummaging through old boxes and high shelves. It was when they reached the back of the diner, where few dared to tread, that they stumbled upon something remarkable. Nestled among the crumbs of the past were 12 small notes, folded neatly and hiding with the remnants of meals once enjoyed. With trembling hands, Ethan unfolded the first note. When the world feels heavy, remember to look for the lights. The words teetered between heartbreak and hope. Each note revealed a story. A tired waitress' late shift, a lonely grandfather's wisdom, a child's first birthday celebrated surrounded by friends. These weren't just words. They were echoes of lives intertwined within the diner's walls. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With each notch, Ethan felt a new strength surge through him, but the fear of Mia, drifting further away, loomed larger. As tensions rose, they argued. Harsh words sliced through their bond like a knife. You're too busy trying to please them, Ethan snapped. What about us? Just then, the townsfolk came together to announce a fundraiser to save the Grateful Spoon, a rallying cry echoing from every corner of Maplewood. In that sweet, chaotic moment, Ethan saw unity bloom where he had nearly lost hope. With the fundraiser on the horizon, secrets unraveled in a whirlwind of moments, doubts exposed, hearts laid bare. But the most unexpected twist lay hidden among the crumbs, a final note that spoke of loyalty, revealing what it meant to truly belong. As the clock ticked closer to the day of reckoning, Ethan wondered if they had enough shared memories left to reclaim the friendship, once thought unbreakable. Would the notes and their stories unite them, or would fear chase them apart? The day of the fundraiser finally arrived, and the clouds had lifted, revealing a bright blue sky. Maplewood buzzed with excitement, a collective pulse that brought Ethan back to life. He could feel it beneath his skin, the energy of hope swirling through the air, like the scent of freshly baked pie wafting from the diner's kitchen. Ethan stood behind the counter of the Grateful Spoon, preparing for the crowd, as Mia helped organize tables outside. It was a beautiful sight, friends and neighbors from every corner of the town pouring in, gathering like they used to, sharing stories and laughter that filled every crack and crevice of the diner's walls. Yet, between the smiles, Ethan felt unease bubble up. Would Mia see it through? Would she choose to step back to him? "Are you ready?" Mia asked, her voice laced with enthusiasm, but there was something distant in her eyes. "Yeah, let's do this." The words came out more like a plea than a confident response. As they set up, he took a moment to round. The diner was alive, a tapestry of vibrant colors, laughter and warmth intertwined with the aroma of bacon and coffee. A line started to form, and the townsfolk began to offer their support, both with donations and kind words. "We believe in you, Ethan." Someone shouted from the back, and the burst of encouragement sent tingles through him. All the while, Ethan's heart raced. His thoughts drifted to the notes, the memories contained within those small, delicate folds. They had uncovered stories of hope, but now he felt the shadow of uncertainty creeping back. The first few hours flew by. Ethan and Mia worked side by side, serving up diners' favorites with a renewed enthusiasm. As he flipped pancakes and poured coffee, he caught glimpses of Mia laughing with the popular kids. A twinge of jealousy shot through him, sharp and uncomfortable. Was she truly with them or just playing a part to fit in? "Hey, Ethan," Mia called out, finally breaking free from her chatter with the crowd. "Let's do that special today. You know, the 12 Crumbs delight. It can be our highlight." Her eyes sparkled with that old fun, and for that moment, Ethan's heart leapt. "Great idea," he replied, trying to match her excitement. As they prepared the unique dish, which featured 12 mini desserts inspired by the notes, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on a precipice. Would this truly bridge the widening gap between them? Just as they finished plating up the first orders, he saw a figure approaching. It was Mrs. Thompson, the town librarian, holding one of the notes they had uncovered. "What's this?" she asked, her voice wary yet curious. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The mischief of revealing the notes to the town felt daunting now. "Just a little surprise I wanted to share," he muttered, a lump forming in his throat. But Mrs. Thompson's eyes softened. "This is beautiful. Everyone deserves to know what this diner means to all of us." Ethan felt the weight of her words settle around him. Maybe the notes hadn't just been about his friendship with Mia. Perhaps they were an echo of something larger, a shared history binding the community together. Just then, a cold gust of wind stirred, sending shivers through the crowd as dark clouds gathered once again on the horizon. A shadow loomed over the festive atmosphere. Ethan's heart raced. He could feel it, dread creeping back in. What if the storm returned to drown their efforts before they had a chance to shine? As thunder rumbled ominously in the distance, Ethan turned to Mia. "We have to share the stories. We can't let fear win. It's time to be brave together." Mia hesitated, uncertainty etched on her face. It was a pivotal moment, one that could either mend or finally break everything. The storm brewed above as Ethan gathered his courage, ready to confront whatever would come next. Would their friendship finally emerge stronger from the remnants of the past, or was the storm about to tear it all apart? Ethan's heart pounded as he watched the dark clouds swirl above. A stark contrast to the warmth and joy radiating from the diner. The laughter and chatter of the townsfolk felt almost surreal, a bubble of happiness against the impending storm. He could see Mia standing there, uncertainty clouding her face, as she scanned the crowd. In that moment he remembered why he had chosen to dive into the past to connect not just with his own memories, but with hers. "Let's share the stories," Ethan urged again, voice steady but quiet. As if louder words might shatter the fragile moment. There had been a time when they could tell each other everything. Could they reclaim that intimacy now? Mia glanced down at the note Mrs. Thompson had brought, crumpled but full of untold memories. "You really think they want to hear it? What if it changes things?" Her voice trembled slightly, and Ethan could feel her reluctance. Change was always terrifying, especially when it involved friendships layered with unspoken feelings. Everything is changing anyway. We can't hide from it. We can either share these stories and find strength, or let them stay locked away forever, he replied, his own words surprising him with their conviction. Just then, a loud clap of thunder echoed overhead, sending a ripple of anxiety through the crowd. The laughter dimmed momentarily as everyone looked to the sky, apprehension spreading like wildfire. "This might be the perfect time to show them our special," Ethan said, desperate to shift the focus back to the positive. The thought of unveiling the 12 Crumbs delight felt right an act of bravery, woven into a fabric of community spirit. Mia took a deep breath, a glimmer of the old spark coming back to her eyes. "You're right. Let's do it." As they began to gather, everyone around, a sense of purpose began to settle in the air. Ethan forced himself to smile, hoping the warmth radiating from him would reach Mia and the rest of the townsfolk. He felt a stirring in his heart. Maybe this was their chance to break down the barriers and reaffirm what they meant to each other. With a clap of his hands to gather attention, Ethan called out, "Hey everyone! We have something special today, a new dish, inspired by stories shared in this very diner. 12 little treats, each connected to the memories that brought us together." The crowd murmured, moving close. Mia took her place beside him, her hand brushing against his. For a fleeting moment, Ethan felt invincible. As he began to explain the significance behind each mini dessert, how each recipe tied back to notes from other diners, the storm clouds overhead threatened to release their fury. But he pushed through, his voice steady and filled with emotion. Each story shared, transcending time, seemed to lift the spirits of the gathering. Then, amidst the tales of forgiveness and unexpected friendships, he caught sight of Mrs. Thompson's soft smile, radiating understanding. The rest of the crowd leaned in, absorbed, engrossed. Each laugh and gasp transformed their collective worry into something vibrant and alive. But, as the last story concluded, a sharp gust of wind whipped through the diner, a harbinger of rain. The crowd shifted uneasily, and Ethan held his breath. "Let's not let a little storm dampen this moment," Mia shouted, her voice ringing clear. She grabbed a crumbled note from the counter. "I want to read one more." The tension danced in the air, palpable yet charged with hope. As Mia unfolded the paper, Ethan's heart raced. What would she say? Would this be the turning point they desperately needed, or just another chapter in their uncertain story? A single drop of rain splashed against the window, and the audience waited, breath held, as Mia read aloud. Would this moment solidify their friendship, or would it open the floodgates to doubts long held in the shadows? Mia took a deep breath as she unfolded the paper fully. Her fingers trembled, not just from the rush of sharing, but from the weight of the words she was about to unleash. The diners leaned in, expressions shifting from worry to curiosity and anticipation. She glanced sideways at Ethan, who offered her an encouraging smile, eyes radiating warmth. It was all so perfectly ordinary, yet so extraordinarily powerful. As she began reading, her voice carried a little waver, but echoed with sincerity. This note comes from the heart of someone who once believed in the strength of friendship. Ethan felt the goosebumps rise on his arms as he listened. The room quieted. Laughter faded into background murmurs, replaced by the sound of raindrops tapping like a drumbeat against the diner's metal roof. The storm was here, but it could wait. For now, the real tempest was within the walls of this place. Mia continued. They once wrote that friendship is like a recipe. You need love and trust as the base, laughter as the sugar, and support as the flower that holds everything together. The crowd shifted, some nodding, others exchanging knowing glances. Ethan felt a sudden rush of hope. This was more than just about muffins and cookies. It was about the essence of what they all shared in this town, the pieces that stitched their lives together through both sweet and bitter moments. As she went on, Mia's voice grew stronger. The last line reads, "True friends weather the storms together, and the joy they bring can always bake away the worries." Ethan's heart swelled at the realization. She was weaving their past with threads of hope for the future, a tapestry that celebrated their connections rather than fearing their losses. It was a revelation that could change everything. Around the diner, heads bobbed as recognition dawned on familiar faces. The town's history flickered alive in their hearts, rekindled like an old flame. He could see Mrs. Thompson wiping a tear from her cheek, while the younger crowd exchanged smiles and squeezed each other's hands. But just as the atmosphere reached a crescendo, another clap of thunder rumbled loudly, shaking the windows. Ethan noticed the way Mia's face momentarily faltered, doubt creeping in again. He sensed her hesitation, fear bubbling just beneath the surface of her courage. "Mia," he breathed, daring to step closer. "You're doing amazing. Don't stop now." Her eyes locked onto his, a moment of silent encouragement passing between them. Gathering her strength, she pressed on. "The truth is, we've all been through storms, and it's okay to remember that. These stories connect us, remind us, and inspire us to move forward together." Ethan couldn't help but smile at the growing energy in the room. The connection tangible, their courage rising like the bread that would someday come from their new recipe. Everyone was feeling it, the unspoken bond that had been waiting to long for acknowledgement. And then she did something unexpected. "I want to share my story, too." The words spilled from her lips, each syllable charged with vulnerability. "Ethan and I. We lost touch, and it's hurt me more than I realized. I think we both felt it. It's time to bring it back." The crowd shifted again, a collective breath held tight. The moment felt monumental. Would she talk about their past, the things left unsaid? Ethan's heart hammered painfully against his chest. "Mia, wait." He began, but she raised a hand, gently silencing him. "No, I need to do this." Her eyes were fierce, strong. "It's time we acknowledge how we both felt, and how we can rebuild." As the weight of her confession settled in the air. Ethan felt an electric current all the moments, the little crumbs of life, leading to this very second. But would they be strong enough to confront the truth, or would that storm erupt in the wake of their honesty? As Mia's voice took on a steadiness, Ethan braced himself for the storm of emotions that was about to follow. Would they face the rain together, or would it tear them apart? His breath caught as the raindrops poured harder, drumming a frenzied rhythm against the roof, mirroring the chaos inside him. What would come next? Mia inhaled deeply, a composure slowly knitting itself back together within her. She glanced out at the crowd, her friends, her family, people she knew and loved. Each face was a valuable piece of her life's puzzle, but the weight of her next words hung heavy above them like the blackened clouds outside. Ethan and I. She paused, the truth waiting just under the surface. We used to be so close. It was easy to laugh, to share everything. A small smile broke through her vulnerability. But life happened, and it snuck in between us. It felt like a gap was created that we just allowed to grow. Ethan felt his pulse quicken. The memory surged like a tide threatening to drown him. They used to laugh over coffee, run through the streets sharing secrets, their friendship solid and unshakable. It wasn't until life twisted their paths apart that he realized how much he had missed her. He noticed the diners reacting. Muffled sounds of recognition flowed through the room, mixed with shared shivers of nostalgia. Mia's words were stirring something deep inside them all, a collective memory. I missed that, she continued, her voice growing stronger. But admitting this doesn't come without its fears. I was afraid you would think I didn't care. Her eyes searched for his, confidence igniting like a spark. I care, Ethan, I really do. As she spoke, the storm outside intensified. Mirroring the emotions swirling within Ethan, lightning split the sky in a flash, illuminating the diner for a brief moment. He knew the truth. He had also let fear take hold. Fear of rejection, of realizing that their friendship had drifted too far. But hearing her hindsight ignited the flickers of hope that had been buried. The crowd leaned in, anchoring around the words that floated above the noise of the storm. We're all here because we care, right? Mia looked out at them, her question hanging like a fragile thread. Absolutely. A voice called from the back, and the small affirmation ignited an uproar of agreement. The energy shifted, the diner's atmosphere transforming into a tangible warmth that wrapped around them, fiercely resisting the deluge outside. But how do we fix what's broken? Mia continued, tilting her head thoughtfully. How do we recover from everything? Each word seemed like a stake in the ground, anchoring their shared commitment. We just have to start somewhere, Ethan said, stepping forward. His heart raced, a flame of determination igniting within him. It's about being honest with each other, facing our past, and understanding we might stumble along the way. But it's that journey together that counts. The crowd buzzed with encouragement and understanding, the weight between them lifting just slightly. For a moment, Mia's vulnerability turned to strength, mingling with Ethan's resolve, revealing an unbreakable connection that had been forged through their shared histories, even the painful parts. I want us all to share. Mia's voice grew clearer, striking a chord of resolve. Let's open up our hearts and talk. It's the only way we can truly move forward, right? We face these storms together. As she spoke, the chaos within him began to settle, replaced by a stirring hope that spread through the diner like sunlight peeking through the clouds. Faces lit with encouragement. They were ready to connect the past with the present. Yet, in the corner of her eye, Mia caught a glimpse of the diner's entrance, where a figure stood shrouded by the rain, someone she hadn't expected to see, someone with the power to send her story tumbling in a new direction. What would happen if that figure stepped inside? How would their reemergence shift the entire narrative unfolding in front of them? Doubt lingered in the air as she felt the weight of her own breath, anticipating what this next storm might bring. Mia's heart raced as her thoughts collided. The storm yawned outside, but there was a tempest brewing inside the diner, one fueled by the uncertainty and possibility wrapped in that figure standing in the entrance. She couldn't tear her gaze away. With every second that passed, the diner, once a comforting cocoon of familiarity, now felt like a stage where anything could unfold. She could almost feel the crowd holding their breath, waiting for the uninvited guest to step forward. With sudden determination, she stepped down from her perch on the stool, making her way toward the figure that loomed just outside the light of the diner's neon sign. As she approached, the figure slowly emerged from the shadows. It was a face she knew all too well, yet had only glimpsed in fleeting memories. Carter, her heart twisted, and a mix of joy and anxiety washed over her. They hadn't spoken in years, but a shared history pulsed beneath the surface, raw and unresolved. Carter met her gaze, eyes wide with surprise. Mia. The name hung in the air, thick with disbelief. He looked different, his boyish charm replaced by a scruffy beard and a weariness that hinted at stories left untold. "Yes, it's me," her voice pitched higher, emotions unraveling. "What are you doing here?" I didn't want to miss this." He gestured to the gathering, where voices erupted in chatter. "I saw the lights from my car. The storm raged outside, but inside, tension crackled like electricity. I heard about your speech. I had to see it for myself." Mia felt a warmth spread through her. It was a risk to let him back in, but a part of her thrummed with hope. "You remember our friendship, don't you? How we promised to never let anything come between us. Ascartir nada se flitting remb. I remember things I regret, too." He stepped closer, his voice barely a whisper now. "Everything fell apart. It happened to us all, but I never forgot." The words struck deep. Even amid the crowded diner, it felt like they were cut off from the outside world. It was just them, tethered by nostalgia and the weight of words unsaid. Suddenly, with the storm raging, the lights flickered overhead, casting fleeting shadows over the diner. A familiar face erupted from the crowd. Ethan, his expression filled with concern as he approached. He had likely noticed the charged air between Mia and Carter. "Is everything okay?" he asked, scanning the newly formed triangle of tension. "Yes," Mia stated, though her heart felt tumultuous. "Carter just showed up. I didn't expect this." The words felt inadequate. Carter crossed his arms, glancing sideways at Ethan. "I didn't mean to intrude. I just wanted to see how everyone was doing." His voice was steady, but echoed with uncertainty. Ethan stepped forward, a slight challenge behind his calm demeanor. "We all have to face the past at some point. It's part of that journey we talked about." Mia's heart raced again, fear and excitement merging. Would they really face it together now? Was it possible to reconcile the fragments of their shattered friendship with all that had transpired? The crowd's energy shifted as they became aware of the three figures at the center of this emotional storm. Curious, glances darted back and forth, eyes wide with concern and interest. Mia took a deep breath, grounding herself. Maybe this is the conversation we all needed. Maybe it's time to share all our truths. The diner was charged with an air of anticipation. Would Carter stay? Was there space for healing in their collective hearts? Each face reflected a willingness to confront the past, but could they muster the courage to expose their vulnerabilities? What secrets lingered in these unspoken words? A crack of thunder pierced the air, and she felt a shift in the atmosphere. As anticipation grew, so did the fear. What would happen when the truth was fully laid bare? Mia looked at Carter, then at Ethan, determining the path forward. The next step seemed elusive, yet essential. What lay beyond this moment? Mia's breath hitched as she gazed at Carter, the years filtering through her mind like grains of sand slipping away. She glanced at Ethan, who stood with an encouraging expression, his body, language open but watchful. The air between them felt charged, like the moment before lightning illuminated the night sky. What truth do we need to share? Mia's voice barely broke through the awkward silence, yet it held a strength she hadn't expected from herself. It hung in the air, an invitation to unearth buried feelings. Carter shifted his weight, a flicker of vulnerability grazing his features. I'm not the same person I was back then, and I know I hurt you. He paused, searching for the right words. I didn't realize how deeply until I heard you were speaking tonight. Mia's heart fluttered at rang of sincerity. We've all changed, she replied, her voice soothing. But maybe those changes can bring us back together. The storm outside intensified, casting shadows that flickered across the room. But the diner remained wrapped in an intimate cocoon of hope. A nearby table of patrons whispered among themselves, intrigued by the unfolding drama, but Mia hardly noticed them. Her whole world was contained within this moment, the man she sometimes wished was still in her life, and the man who had become a steady foundation through the years. Ethan took a step closer, his eyes darting between Mia and Carter. Maybe we need to air out some feelings, just like the storm cleanses the air after it rains. His tone was solid, cutting through Mia's growing anxiety. His guidance had always been the compass she relied on. With his encouragement, Mia took a deep breath. It's true, we all have things we regret, she said, her voice gathering strength. The things we left unsaid didn't just break our friendship, they clung to our hearts. It's painful, realizing how much we lost because of silence. Carter nodded slowly, his eyes glistening as the words pierced him. I let that silence keep me from reaching out, and I thought naively that it would protect everyone. Instead, I've borne the weight of it alone. He looked down, rubbing the back of his neck as if trying to massage away the tension. What if we change that? Ethan suggested, his gentle tone urging them forward. Tonight is a new beginning, isn't it? A chance to rethink how we connect, to forgive, to heal. Mia felt a flicker of hope, igniting warmth within her. Exactly. Let's talk. Let's share how we felt. All those years ago, she couldn't ignore the way the memories bubbled inside her like an unsweetened soda, threatening to overflow. What was it like for you, Carter, when it all fell apart? Carter glanced back to her, eyes reflecting a pain she remembered too well. It was like losing a part of myself. I went on, but Everything felt gray. I missed my best friend, a hole burned, where you used to be. A soft murmur of understanding rippled through the audience, and for a moment, Mia felt the weight of burdens lifting. The sincerity in Carter's voice encouraged her to dive deeper. I felt abandoned, lost. Like the laughter we shared was a distant echo, the vulnerability of it all sent ripples of shock through her. But relief began to shadow the fear. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, the power flickered off, plunging the diner into darkness. Gasps filled the air, quickly replaced by the sound of chairs scraping and murmurs of concern. Mia's heart raced, the absence of light intensifying the atmosphere. She clenched her fists as the darkness wrapped around them, but somewhere in that void, she felt an electric pulse, a signal that this was her moment to understand everything. Maybe. Ethan's voice reached out, steady and strong. This is exactly what we need, a chance to see things differently. Mia's pulse quickened. Something deep inside her beckoned to embrace this uncertainty and the opportunity for genuine connection. Can we really do this? Can we find each other again? As a flicker of light returned moments later, illuminating their faces slightly, she caught a glimpse of Carter's hopeful expression. What awaited them on this unexpected journey through shadows? Would they truly uncover the healing they all so desperately craved? Mia felt her stomach flip as the light struggled to stabilize, casting a faint glow that danced across their faces. The flickering light made everything feel surreal. Shadows shifted and swirled, just like the turmoil in her heart. Is everyone okay? A voice called from one of the other tables, bringing Mia back to the moment. The clatter of plates and whispers filled the diner, but she focused on the two men before her. The weight of their shared past pressing them closer together, even in the low light. Ethan stepped closer, his face a steadying presence. "We're fine," he reassured the surrounding patrons. Then, turning back to Mia and Carter, he proposed softly, "Let's not let this silence break our momentum." Carter took a deep breath, allowing the faint light to reflect the turmoil etched on his features. "Right," he said, his voice steady but tinged with nerves. "Mia, it's now or never. I want to tell you how I really felt, and how bad it hit me when we drifted apart." Mia's heart raced, every beat echoing in her ears. She could feel the raw emotion spilling from him, and it compelled her to lean in closer, inviting him to share the truth that had been locked away for too long. "I thought if I kept my distance," Carter continued, "it would hurt less. But every time I heard about you, every time I saw your name in passing, it felt like a punch to the gut. I missed you, Mia. I missed my friend." Tears brimmed in her eyes as sorrow and relief swirled together. "I know what you mean," she said, her throat tight. "When I spoke about you during my speech tonight, those memories, they weren't just good times. They were the highlights of my life. Losing you felt like losing a part of myself, too." The diner was buzzing softly around them, but in their small corner, a sacred space formed. It was as if time paused, allowing them to finally confront the devastation of their silence. "Do you remember the summer we spent at the lake?" Carter asked, a hint of a smile breaking his somber mood. "The way we used to laugh until we couldn't breathe. That felt real, Mia. I want that again." A tear rolled down Mia's cheek, escaping the flood of emotions threatening to surface. "I want that too," she replied, her voice trembling with vulnerability. "But How do we get back to that place? Can we really mend what was broken? Ethan stood quietly, his presence a sturdy anchor as the whirlwind of their emotions swirled around them. He observed with a knowing gaze, clearly aware of the weight of their questions. Sometimes, the hardest part is admitting what we lost. But here you are, facing it together. That's a step in the right direction. The storm outside howled, making the windows shudder lightly. Within the diner, though, something shifted. Mia felt a flicker of hope igniting. Maybe we can rebuild this. Rebuild us. Carter's eyes sparkled with determination. Let's promise to be open, to share what we really feel, and take this step by step. No more silence. Mia nodded. The intensity of their declaration spilled into the space between them. It's a promise. Just then, the lights flickered again and then settled into a steady glow, illuminating their surroundings far better than before. She caught sight of the spectators nearby, whose murmurs had quieted to respectful silence, their own stories of friendship and loss echoing in the backdrop. As Mia's gaze returned to Carter, he seemed more vulnerable than ever. I never thought I'd get this chance, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. To start over with you. She glanced over at Ethan, who gave her a small, encouraging nod, reminding her she wasn't alone on this journey. We owe it to ourselves, she said, her heart aching with hope. To let this be the beginning of something new. What new memories would they create together and apart? And could this promise of openness truly heal old wounds? The path ahead felt uncertain, but she was ready to face it head-on. Just then, the door to the diner swung open, and the icy wind rushed in, carrying an unexpected visitor that would twist their destiny once more. The door slammed against the wall, a gust of frigid air sweeping into the warm diner. Mia's spine tingled, and the collective breath of the room seemed to hitch in unison. Instantly, the atmosphere shifted as everyone turned their gaze towards the entrance. A figure stood silhouetted against the stormy night, a coat flapping like a flag in the wind. Mia squinted through the flickering light, trying to make sense of the sudden interruption. Before she could process it fully, the figure stepped into the glow of the diner, revealing a familiar face that made her heart stutter. Jenna, Mia whispered, the name escaping her lips almost like a prayer. Her mind raced back to days filled with laughter and secrets shared over milkshakes. Jenna had been one of their closest friends, an undeniable part of the group that had been so tightly knit before everything unraveled. Carter's expression morphed from surprise to confusion, and Ethan's brow furrowed as they both stared at the new arrival. Mia! Jenna's voice was shaky, laced with emotions Mia hadn't expected. I didn't know if I'd find you here. She stepped forward, her hazel eyes brimming with unshed tears. Conflicting feelings surged through Mia joy at seeing her old friend, but also a twinge of anxiety. What are you doing here? She asked, her heart racing. She longed to embrace Jenna, but hesitated, unsure of how to navigate this complex reunion among the tension with Carter. I heard about your speech, Jenna said, her voice wavering with vulnerability. I wanted to support you after everything. I thought maybe I could finally say what I never had the chance to, about us, about all of it. Mia glanced at Carter and Ethan, who each wore expressions of uncertainty. There was something almost charged in the air, as if the storm outside had swept through their emotions too. Mia, I know all this time has passed, Jenna continued, stepping closer, but it doesn't change how much I care about you. About our friendship. I've missed you, and I felt like I owed it to you to explain. Carter shifted, the weight of his own unresolved feelings visibly wrestling with the unfolding moment. You both were a big part of my life too, he interjected, trying to reclaim some control. We all were. But it feels like we lost that somehow. Llena nadad. Glancing back at him with acknowledgement before returning her focus to Mia, I regret not being there for you when it mattered most. I thought maybe time would heal everything, but it didn't. It only made things worse. I should have reached out. I've needed you, and I couldn't stand being sidelined any longer. A wave of emotions crashed through Mia's sadness, anger, longing all intertwined. She had also felt abandoned, and now, seeing Jenna's anguish mirrored her own, the dam began to break. I missed you too, she confessed, clutching her hands together tightly. Amid the diner's soft murmurs, a melody of nostalgia filled the air, wrapping around them. One by one, the other diners returned to their meals, seemingly aware of the fragile moment unfolding in that little corner. Perhaps this is our second chance, Ethan said, with a cautious optimism, not just for you, but for all of us. Mia stared at the three people who had once defined her youth, her heart beating wild and strong. She had longed for this reckoning, but now that it was here, uncertainty gripped her. How do we start? Before anyone could answer, the wind howled outside, and the lights flickered again, casting an air of urgency over their simple diner reunion. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, pressing them closer to a choice that could either break them further or rebuild what had been lost. As the lights steadied and their eyes met in a shared moment of realization, Mia felt the heaviness of their past shrouded in hope. What secrets would Jenna unveil? And would they be enough to mend the ties that once bound them together? Mia stood at the epicenter of swirling emotions, her heart racing as she stared into Jenna's eyes. The storm outside raged, but here, in the warm embrace of the grateful spoon, they had a chance to reclaim what was lost. Jenna, Mia finally said, the name heavy with unspoken sentiment. I missed you so much. We all did. Jenna's face softened, and tears glistened in her hazel eyes. I never wanted you to feel abandoned. The truth is, after everything happened, I didn't know how to face you. I was scared of what you might think. The weight of those words crashed over Mia like a wave. She recognized the fear. It mirrored her own apprehensions. I get it, she replied, voice steady yet quivering with emotion. We all had our reasons. How do we fix this? Carter stepped closer, his voice low but filled with urgency. Can we just start over? A flicker of hope ignited in Mia's chest. I want to start fresh. We all deserve that, right? She glanced at Ethan, who nodded in encouragement. He had been the anchor through her turmoil, guiding her back towards a sense of belonging. Together, we can bridge this gap, Ethan said, glancing between Mia, Carter, and Jenna, but it has to start with honesty. All the things we never said or shared, those need to come to light. Jenna took a breath, and the tension in the air shifted. I should have been honest about how deeply I cared, she admitted, wiping away a stray tear, but I let fear win. I let it pull us apart. That's what we all did, Mia realized aloud. We're stronger together, and we let our doubts and fears fracture that connection. Carter nada his expression. Let's promise to be there for each other, moving forward. No more silence, no more waiting. The once uncertain atmosphere was now charged with possibility, electric and alive. Mia took a step closer to the counter, gesturing to one of the plates displaying the 12 Crumbs delight. These 12 notes we found, they weren't just about past memories. They're also about what's ahead of us. They symbolize hope, a roadmap for us to follow. Ethan's eyes sparkled. What if we take turns sharing our own stories? Let's create a new history tonight, one that honors those crumbs of the past and the promises we make tonight. One by one, they began sharing. Jenna spoke of late-night laughter, moments of vulnerability that defined their friendship. Do you remember that snowstorm where we built the biggest snowman? It felt like the world was ours. She laughed, a warm glow spreading through her as shared memories filled the circle. Carter followed, recalling memories from summer days, their secrets and heartaches. You know, I wished I'd had the courage to tell you how much you meant to me back then, he confessed, sincerity coating every word. I did care. I just didn't know how to say it. Mia felt a smile forming. It's never too late, she reassured him, her heart swelling with the possibility of healing. Ethan waited for his turn, soaking it all in, grateful for this renewed connection. I missed the laughter we used to have, where we could just be kids without a care in the world, he said, glancing around. Getting back there means everything to me. A sense of unity began to take root, replacing the shadows of the past as they created a circle of vulnerability and hope. As they spoke, the storm outside gradually faded. The wind settled into a gentle hum. The atmosphere in the diner lightened, laughter mingling with shared tears as they forged a new bond, one healing and rich with promise. After sharing their stories, Mia felt a calm envelop them. We've taken the first steps to restoring what was broken. Let's keep this infusion of honesty alive, she said, feeling a sense of purpose wash over her. Carter stepped forward. I'd like to propose something. How about we have regular gatherings? Just us, an opportunity to connect, share stories, even when storms come. What a wonderful idea! Jenna exclaimed, a radiant smile stretching across her face. In a way, we can celebrate the crumbs and the desserts they inspired. Mia felt tears prick her eyes, but this chimidoyo. We can promise to support each other, no matter what life throws our way, she added, her voice fierce and full of warmth. Ethan grinned. Perhaps we can even make this a community effort, a reminder that everyone's story matters. The diner erupted into applause and cheer, encouraging warmth, wrapping around them like a blanket. As the faces of the townsfolk glowed with excitement and hope, Mia realized that what they created that night extended far beyond themselves. It was about rebuilding friendships, creating connections, and igniting a sense of belonging for everyone in Maplewood. Ethan glanced out the window, where the storm clouds finally parted. A peaceful twilight settled over their little town, and Mia could see it the glow of hope shining bright. As they all stood there together, she felt a sense of peace. The friendships that had faced the fiercest storms found footholds of resilience. And together, they were ready for the journey ahead. This newfound connection was the foundation of something beautiful. And with every piece of honesty, every flood of memories, they would rise together stronger than before. And with this thought, Mia felt the true essence of friendship swell within her, a recipe infused with love, trust, and unwavering support. As the laughter echoed through the grateful spoon and the faces of Maplewood lit up again with joy. It was clear. Storms may come and go, but the bonds forged in the rain would last forever. Now is your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the positivity flowing. Your support truly makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this uplifting ending. It matters to us. And don't wait, not even one more second, to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of lifting each other up.